Добрий день, я вітаю всіх.
Good afternoon. I want to thank everybody who joined us. Ukraine Media Center Ukrinform continues its operation. My name is Olga Atamanova, and joining us now is Serhii Bratchuk, head of the Public Council at Odesa Regional State Administration, spokesman of the military governor of Odesa region. Mr. Serhii, good afternoon. Mr. Serhii, are you hearing us? Glory to Ukraine, glory to the armed forces, and first of all, I would like to congratulate all my brothers and sisters with the Day of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Wish everybody 540 and 450, I'm sorry, and don't forget the price we're paying for the victory. Thank you, Mr. Serhii. Yes, today we start our briefing only with these congratulations. We thank our armed forces and we greet all of our defenders. Both men and women, you are the best, so take care of yourselves and return and come back alive. Mr. Serhii, let's talk about the aftermath of the massive missile strike which was inflicted by Russians yesterday over Odessa. What's the situation today? What are the consequences? 1, 2. We're having issues with the communication. Our technical team is trying to reestablish the connection. We're waiting for our speaker to return. I will remind you, online with us is Serhii Bratchuk, head of the Public Council at Odesa Regional State Administration and spokesperson of the Military Governor Administration of Odessa region. Our team is trying to set the connection with Mr. Serhii to talk about the situation in Odessa and Odessa region. We know that Odessa found itself under a massive strike yesterday. There are some horrific consequences, and we want to talk about that right now. Our technical team is resetting our system. We're trying to get our speaker reconnected. Mr. Serhii, are you hearing us? 1, 2, 1, 2. Mr. Serhii. We're seeing you, but we're not hearing you. Are you hearing us? I'm reading you quite clear. I'm not having quite a good video, so we're hearing you, so we can continue about the aftermath of the yesterday's strike. What are the consequences? Can you please give a couple of comments on that? Yes, we can talk about it. Odessa did not become an exclusion to the other regions of Ukraine, which suffered the missile strike by Russian Federation. 8 missiles were destroyed by our air defense forces. Unfortunately, there are hits of the energy infrastructure of the region, which resulted in cutting of water and power supply of a city of Odessa and a number of communities in Odessa region. Other part of the region works in a regular mode. The movement of the public transport was suspended, and the meeting was called of the operational headquarters headed by Maxim Marchenko, the head of administration. There were certain resolutions taken because the algorithms of action were planned ahead, because it's not the first strike inflicted on Odessa, so all the services, all the rescue teams proceeded to mitigating the strikes. Unfortunately, 2 persons were injured. They were provided with necessary medical aid. They're on their way to recuperation. Unfortunately, a number of residential buildings were damaged. The enemy keeps striking the civilians and the residential areas without having any success in the battlefields. As I mentioned, the emergency teams immediately proceeded to mitigating of the consequences, to re-establishing the water and power supply in the city. The works are still in progress. They were in progress since evening, the whole night long, and I can report that the vast majority of the city and Odessa region are reconnected to water supply. The power supply is being reestablished in a number of districts as well as heat supply, but I have to emphasize that talking about critical infrastructure, first of all, the hospitals, all of our hospitals and maternity homes in the region and in Odessa region, that there was no single minute they would have suspended their operation. They keep operating in regular mode. The hospitals and maternity homes are provided with water supply, heat supply, and all the necessary services are being provided to the people. The relevant resolutions were taken ahead, and they're provided with alternative power sources. Also, our emergency teams were able to rescue a couple of people who got stuck in the elevators in the apartment blocks. Fortunately, there were no injured or casualties. Everybody was rescued. Talking about the heat supply, all of the 11 district boiler rooms were reset, and the heat supply is being provided to more than 2,500 buildings, apartment blocks across Odessa. The thermal power plant keeps operating in normal mode. We cannot talk about the reconnection of the smaller boiler rooms. More than 10 of them are reconnected to the heat supply system, and they're supplying heat to the homes of the Odessa regions. The water supply is being re-established in all the districts of the city and in the majority of the communities of the region. There are a couple of smaller districts where water supply is not re-established, but the water is being delivered in tanks, and people can get that water from the tank trucks. As to the staff of the military governor, it works 24/7, as well as all the utility emergency services. They react immediately to all the reports and applications submitted by the citizens of Odessa to the utility service headquarters. The resilience stations work incessantly, work 24/7. They're provided with all the necessary measures to cover the basic needs of the Odessa citizens. I mean, recharging their phones, get connected to the web. They can drink hot tea. This is what they can get at these resilience stations. I want to thank all the services in the city of Odessa and in the region which are involved in mitigation of the missile strikes. I bow in front of them, and I hope that within the day we will be able to restore the water and power supply in full all over the territorial communities which were afflicted by the yesterday's strikes. All the trains will be operating in the region. I want to thank Odessa Railway Department for provision of the normal railway connection. Our electric public transport doesn't work, but the buses work to compensate the need. So this is the situation for today in response to your question. And not one more question regarding the reestablishment of power supply. According to your estimates, it will be possible to get it reestablished today. Well, I want to emphasize it's not a forecast. The only forecast I can give that we will win this war. But during the war, I can still hope that by the end of the day, we will be able to renew the power supply both in the city and in the communities which were afflicted by the strikes. Thanks a lot, sir. We have questions in the studio. Please introduce yourself. Irina Mamchur, Ukrinform. My question is as follows. Under circumstances like this, under these extreme circumstances, is the loading of grain still in progress in the port of Odessa? Didn't this process get suspended due to the missile strikes? I would like to emphasize that this new agreement, it works, and it's more like representatives of the Ministry of Infrastructure who have to comment on that. But we know that modern military art is being written in different languages, and this is what's going to be written in Ukrainian language, how to act under extreme circumstances like that. No, the port did not suspend its operation. The missile strikes, yeah, they made their corrections to the operations of the ports, but the ports keep operating according to the plan. There are vessels which are ready to get loaded, and some of them are already about to leave to their destination ports to provide the Ukrainian grain to the countries that need it according to the articles. And I want to thank everybody who got involved in this initiative, that even notwithstanding the extreme conditions and circumstances like that, they are able still to comply with the schedules. If I may, another question about the manuals to be written. Is there an algorithm which may lay fundamental to the communal for utility service? How should they act during the following missile strikes? Because it's winter and we can expect for the temperature to be lower. Do the utility services have any algorithm of what they are supposed to do in case of the absence of the heat supply for a long time in Odessa and region? I'm gonna answer you in the following way, that the pages of this future manual are being edited on a daily basis given any complicated situation. This is not the first and probably not the last missile strike committed by Russia over Odessa and the region. So our utility service keep honing their skills in this regard. I will not mouth it right now, but I'm not saying it in vain that the unique work they're doing now in terms of reinvigorating the life of a city with millions of population in the nighttime to reestablish the water supply, power supply. It's a unique case, I think, and Odessa region demonstrates their experience just as well as other regions of our country. There will be one manual for all. We have more questions, please.
My name is Howard Dotson. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, and I was in Odessa. And my prayers are with the people recovering from these missiles. But I wanted to ask about potassium iodide, a critical medicine that protects the thyroid gland should a Ukrainian be exposed to radiation. I did a canvass of the pharmacies in Odessa. Only 2 pharmacies had it. So there's a severe shortage of potassium iodide. And I'm wondering what your province, Oblast, and other oblasts are doing to restock the pharmacies with this essential medicine.
I appreciate your question. I am Serhii Bratchuk, the veteran of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. I don't know how urgent is this question right now? I think that all of the pharmacies of Odessa and the region are provided with all the necessary medicines. I think that we are provided with everything we need, but I see no actual urgency in terms of this medicine you just mentioned. Thank you, Mr. Serhii. Thank you for joining us. We hope that we will be able to reestablish the energy supply all over Odessa, and I want to remind you that our next briefing is at 1400. We will have Fedor Venislavsky joining us, the presidential representative in Ukrainian parliament, and we work for our victory and trust in our armed forces. Glory to Ukraine and glory